us arguing about facts. They'd come up and say, I heard that the batteries can't be recycled or they're going to be degraded in 5, like total nonsense and misinformation. I think if we had known about that earlier, we would have prepared. We wouldn't have engaged. We wouldn't have lost some time trying to argue with those points. So we've learned now, hey, when people want to hear the facts, we point that out, and just, you got to ignore the part that's in misinformation. That's probably would have saved us a little bit of time.
All right, Daniel, how about you? If you could travel back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would your advice be?
I have to admit, the first thing I thought when I heard that question was to buy Tesla stock back in 2010.
That's actually the first thing I thought of too. Buy Tesla stock for sure. But okay, that's the first thing you would tell. You're allowed to give yourself two pieces of advice. What's the
right? I think the other thing would be to if I'd go back, let's say 10 years or a little bit longer, would be to believe that the EV revolution was going to happen. I think that would be the advice I would give myself. It was sort of, we're still early days today, but it would have been nice to know that 10 years ago as well, and to actually double down on it back then. And I think that there's it was hard for people like my brother to explain that when he first got involved in this. And he would drive around his Nissan Leaf and see how fast it is. I can zip ahead of the Mustangs and etc. back in his old car, and it's so quick. And so much fun, and to just know that the technology would catch up, the battery technology would get to where it is today, where you have enough range, we're charging, you can now charge a vehicle often in 20 minutes, so just to have faith that those things were coming back then, I think that would have been very helpful.
Well, I am very excited about where this is all going to go, and I'll be watching very closely the future of EVnet. Daniel, Daryl, I thank you both so much for your time, and appreciate you joining me.
Thanks so much, Ken. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I hope we get to connect, as the industry evolves a little further.
Thank you so much, Ken. Really appreciate it.
My thanks to Daryl Croft, President and co-founder of Electric Vehicle Network, and Daniel Hart, co-founder of EV Angels. Idea to Investment is sponsored by TD Ferreira Wealth Advisory Group and is made possible by Tech Alliance of Southwestern Ontario. If you'd like to learn more about Tech Alliance and the resources available to entrepreneurs and startups, go to techalliance.ca. My name is Ken Eastwood. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello and welcome to the What's Up London show. I'm your host, Melissa Maloney. We have some amazing guests with us today. We will be heading to the theater, chatting about safety, and having some laughs. I know I'm excited to learn more. Our first guests are no stranger to being here or to the theater, as they've been creating original theatrical work since 2009. Director Dan Curtis is here to tell us about the upcoming play with one of the actors, Andrew Dodd. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Excited to have you both here. So why don't we start a little bit tell us about the play. Sure.
So the play is called Rat King.
Okay.
It was written by Sean Brennan, who's one of the founding members of Banished by the King. It's the story of a couple of brothers where one has been in an accident and has basically lost his short-term memory.
Okay.
And everything kind of comes to a head when we realize that he was actually involved in some rather seedy dealings with some shady people, but he doesn't remember. So overlaid on top of a quarreling family is all of these sort of goons and criminals all trying to get what they were after as well. So
okay.
It's pretty interwoven, I'd say.
Yes. Drama?
For the most part.
Okay.
There are some moments of levity, but the key, I think, is that they're real people. You know these characters in your friends. You know these characters with people that you work with. And so the acting can be stripped right down to just the most raw and basic, and it works just fine.
as Dan mentioned, it's pretty layered, and
Yeah.
there's a lot to work with there with the characters. It's got some comedy, it's got some family drama, some romance, it's got it all.
I can feel what you're saying, Dan, in the sense that everybody can connect with that. Like, is this something that I can do? Is this something I want to do? What's the impact of that? So that's definitely a great storyline, I think, for a lot of people to connect to.
It gets pretty layered, and again, not to go into too much of it, but you know, there's feelings of love for people, but maybe there's, you know, feelings of resentment as well because of the situation you find yourself in, and then you're guilty for feeling resentful because it's somebody you love. So it's fairly layered, it's fairly complex, and as an actor, that's a lot of fun to get into.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Dan, typically, are you always in the director role, or do you also switch hats and act as well?
So I switch hats. So this would be my my second run at directing.
Awesome.
I'm usually on the stage, but I feel like I can bring some different perspectives to the actors, and my goal is that I hope that they've enjoyed the process enough that they would come back and do it again.
Awesome. So before the show, we were chatting a little bit about your new residency at Palace Theatre. Can we talk a little bit about that, maybe?
Sure. So it started in the before times prior to COVID, but we were working with the folks at the Palace because we had all this content. Banished by the King had a number of different shows, but nowhere to do them. And the Palace has all of the space and nothing to put in it. So it seemed like a really good relationship to get going. The inaugural residency show happened in the spring. It was called Civil Dawn, and it went off really, really well. So this is our second
Awesome.
in that residency.
Amazing. And so more to come than I anticipate?
More to come. So one of our processes is we'd like to do a staged reading. So we'll have, you know, the actors kind of sit in a semicircle with their character names in front of them, and we will basically act out the play without up and acting it. From there, we look to folks that were in attendance for, you know, feedback or ideas, or, you know, where can we make this better? And then we take that back to the drawing board, and we end up with what we're at now with Rat King. We went through that whole process with that and have landed here.
I love that process. As somebody who's not involved in theater, is that a typical process? Like, is that what typically happens, or is that unique to how you execute?
I don't think it's typical. You know, there are a lot of really theater-minded folks in town here, and you know, you see the same people coming out to everything because they just love it, but they also bring all these wonderful ideas and things that we may have never thought of. And then that we can then kind of incorporate into the scripts before they get done.
Awesome. Andrew, when is the play?
The play opens on November the 7th, and it runs until November the 16th. And we definitely didn't just look that up before this filming started. We knew that.
We did not.
Yeah.
You knew it all along.
Yeah.
Off by heart.
That's awesome.
You can go to palacetheatre.ca. Check it out.
palacetheatre.ca for tickets. Awesome. And if you were to give in super quick as we wrap it up, that final thing to say, this is definitely why you should come, what would you say to people?
Dan?
I think if you really want to see some heartfelt performances, some real performances, this is where you want to come.
And great directing.
Sure, yes.
Awesome. Thank you both for coming, and we will definitely put all the information up as to when it is, how people can find it, and where to get tickets so
Awesome.
that we can fill the seats.
Thank you so
Melissa.
much.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Your happy place. Easy 1013, the perfect music mix.
Welcome back. Carbon monoxide is known as the silent killer, as it's invisible, tasteless, and odorless. November 1st to 7th is Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week, and here to tell us more about this is Deputy Fire Chief Matt Heptich. Welcome back to the show, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. So where do we want to start on the things that people need to know about carbon monoxide?
Okay, so number one, if you have fuel burning appliances in your home, you need to have a carbon monoxide alarm installed adjacent to the sleeping areas.
Okay.
So if you have the second floor of your house, if you have sleeping on that floor, that means you have to have a CO alarm installed outside of the sleeping areas. So that doesn't mean that it can be installed in a bathroom or in a bedroom behind a closed door. It has to be installed adjacent to or outside that room so that you're notified.
Okay, so it's not anywhere in the house, it's specifically outside the bedrooms.
Exactly, as required as per the Ontario Fire Code, adjacent to any sleeping area.
Okay, and so I know you've got the actual carbon monoxide detector with you. So what are some of the, I guess, the things that people don't know about carbon monoxide and detectors and that side of things that's important for people to know?
Right, so very important for one to make sure that you're following the manufacturer's instructions. Read that owner's manual so that you know what the alarm does and where to place it. Many people don't know what to do or what the sounds of a CO alarm are. The sounds of a CO alarm are different than a smoke alarm. So a CO alarm will have 4 quick beeps. Can we do a beep?
We can do a beep.
All right, great.
So that's, okay.
Right, so 4 quick beeps, okay, that means the carbon monoxide is present in your home. And from there, you need to exit your home immediately and dial 911.
Okay. And so we know that sometimes people have a fear around 911.
Right.
So what would you say to that? Like, what if somebody's worried, like, should I call? Is it an emergency? What's your response to that?
It's absolutely 100% a legitimate call to 911. We have people who have concerns. They have their CO alarm activated in the background. We can hear it, and they call into our administration and ask questions. The right thing to do is to call 911 right away. We will send the trucks and make sure that your property is safe from carbon monoxide.
And always better safe than sorry in this
100%. Yeah, there's no concerns ever with a call to 911 to make sure that you're safe in this scenario.
Okay. So throughout this Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week, there's obviously the focus is on education and on driving awareness towards it. One of the things we were chatting about is, what if I live in an apartment building, or what if I live in a home that doesn't have a garage? What are some of the things that people should know about that?
So if you live in an apartment building and you share a wall with a mechanical room that has a fuel-fired appliance, or if perhaps your unit is above a parking garage, you're required to have a carbon monoxide alarm installed in your unit to protect you from carbon monoxide.
Okay. And so I guess around smoke detectors compared to carbon monoxide detectors, is there standards around how often you should change them out, or should you be testing them? Anything along those lines?
Exactly. So you can test your carbon monoxide alarm once a month.
Okay.
One thing you should know too is inside the back here, you'll notice that there's a manufacturer's date.
Oh, okay.
Very similar to a smoke alarm. The same identical thing has a smoke alarm has a date of manufacture as well, and you want to replace that smoke alarm as per the manufacturer's instruction, which is generally around 10 years.
Okay.
So right inside there.
Okay, and so I have a plug-in carbon monoxide detector. Yeah. All the same things apply?
All the same things apply. So installed adjacent to sleeping areas, same thing. And in a wall unit in the outlet is perfect as well.
Okay, and so if people are looking to learn more about this, and and we've intrigued them enough where they're like, okay, I want to do some more, get some more knowledge. What are some of the best resources that they could go to?
Probably one of the best is to check the Ontario Fire Marshal's website.
Okay.
They have a very good variety of public information on there and public safety education. We do have some on our City of London Fire website as well that gives basic directions and information similar to what we're talking about today as well.
Okay, perfect. And as we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to say to the London community about the week that's coming up?
So it's Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week. Please make sure that you check and you test your smoke alarms and that you know the sounds that your CO alarm makes. So 4 beeps, that means it's time to get out. Don't open the windows, don't air it out, close the door, call 911. The trucks will come. We'll do some readings with our gas meters and make sure if there is presence of carbon monoxide, we'll be able to let you know at that time.
Okay, awesome. I thought you were going to give us like a fun tagline for carbon monoxide. Is there one for it?
It's the silent killer.
Okay.
So it's odorless, it's tasteless. You can't see it, you can't smell it. So you have to be very, very careful. So when this activates, it's time to exit your home.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the information and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi everyone, my name's Emily Febry. I'm also known as Ranger M. I'm an environmental communicator and educator, and I get to talk to a lot of different people about all things nature and conservation. I love to knowledge share, and that's what I want to do with you. So come on, let's go learn with Ranger M.
Join the high-energy, bodyweight-based workouts of the Thunder Twins. Gerald and Harold will get all shapes and sizes up and moving. Catch the Thunder Mondays at noon.
Jeff from Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff here, and we are back for another incredible season of Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff. We're going to tour some amazing backyards. We're going to meet up with some great folks, and we're going to cook some incredible food. Join us Thursdays at 7:30 for Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff.
Welcome back. Our next guests are here to discuss a really important topic, mental health, and their upcoming play, Man Up, that is playing November 7th to 10th. To tell us more about this really important piece of work is John Pacheco and Dan Semple, both from Pacheco Theatre. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here. Obviously a big topic that we're going to be talking about because we're talking mental health, and specifically for this, men's mental health. So John, why don't you start with why?
It was a few years ago, Jason Ripp, who is the co-author of Man Up, along with Rachel Gans, who approached me and discussed about if I wanted to direct the show and how important it was to him. Man Up deals mainly with the topic of male suicide. We also delve into female suicide as well, but more importantly, male suicide. And some of the stats that we were discussing were the fact that of 4,000 suicides, 75% are done by men. Mm-hmm. My brother died of suicide in 2009. And so when Jason approached me, it was all of those things that came to the forefront that made me really want to be a part of this project, and I was happy to come on board and to direct it. Of course, COVID hit, and here we are 3 years later. So we're slightly delayed, but yeah. Happy and very important to bring this subject matter to life, if you will.
And theater, this is what theater's there to do. It's there to tell the hard stories and to create space to have these conversations. So Dan, what led to you wanting to get involved in this play?
Oh, well, I was a high school teacher for my career, and I was just saying to John in the waiting room, I've had 8 students in my career that have taken their own lives over the course of my 30-year career. And it just, everyone's touched by it in some way, shape, or form, that I think it's really important. And you brought up the fact that theater is a really great place to do it. Since COVID, I feel theater has gotten really safe. People want to do light, fluffy things to bring audiences in, and this is not a light, fluffy thing. There's some funny stuff in it, really well written, but you can either go to theater to escape or to connect, and a lot of theater these days is a lot of the escapist. But here's a piece that every night I go home and I've just got feelings and I've got thoughts and I want to have discussions with people. And I think that's what's really important about this piece in particular, and why we really want to get all 200 seats sold, is that's 200 people who will go out of the theater and talk about it.
Yep.
Just, it's going to bring up stuff. It's going to make you feel a little uncomfortable at times. But that's an important part of theater too. It's not just to go and laugh and escape your life.
Yeah.
But maybe it's to connect with your life and understand things a little bit better.
And to create dialogue
absolutely.
around a challenging topic. And even the name of the play, Man Up, right? It truly is the perfect name, because that is what many young boys are being told. And
it's a very good point. And to speak to it, one of our scenes is intergenerational. And so we have the father with his son, first generation, and how they're in an argument, and how the father is coming quite heavily down on his son, almost to the point of violence happening, but it doesn't. Then the scene stops there, grandfather leaves, father leaves, and then they switch chairs. So the son now becomes the father, his son comes into the scene, and the scene is almost played out, but the text changes because the different generation, it softens, but the lessons learned from his father first, of manning up, of taking it on the chin, of, not telling anyone about how hard it is, comes through in the next scene, and then the next scene to where we have the youth of today playing the son, and him not even listening because he's on his phone just playing along, and his father's telling him a life story about, you need to have pride in your life. Without it, you're nothing. And his son's not even listening at this point.
And again, it touches on those expectations, societal expectations of men.
Yes.
And with times changing, and we're still kind of a little locked into older ways, that it's really hard to make those shifts sometimes. And that's where a lot of that mental health struggle comes, is, when your father has said, this is how you man up, but you can't man up in this society in the same way that your dad did.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with those emotions, those feelings, those processes, right?
Definitely. And I would say, as much as it was probably inconvenient that it didn't happen before COVID, there might be a reason, because this might be the right time for people to hear it. We do have to wrap up, but where can people get tickets?
They can get tickets on onstagedirect.com.
Okay.
And there is a Man Up specifically link for that. And the show will be playing at Memorial Park Hall on 11 Briscoe Street, just off of Warncliffe, November the 7th to the 10th.
Perfect. So we will make sure to get all of that information out so that we can fill those 200 seats and have this really important conversation.
Indeed.
Thank you both for being here with us today and being willing to have the vulnerable conversation that needed to happen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
Welcome back. Our final guest for today is ready to have us laughing all night long. November 13th to 16th, we can all experience the London Sorry Comedy Festival, and here to tell us all about it is the owner and operator of the festival, Colin McDougall. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here. So where do we want to start? Maybe what's it all about?
What's it all about? Well, so it is, I like to think I think we all need more laughter. I think we all need more experiences. I'm a big believer, sort of get up off your duff and go experience things. And I really enjoy and feel lucky to have grown up in the city. And so I was able to put together a great team, and we wanted to build upon the festival that was held last year and really sort of scale it up. And we have strong aspirations to make it a national going concern for comedy in the country.
Amazing. I love it. I need to ask about the name. Because London Sorry, because I'm an apologizer. So
Yes.
is it a play on that?
It is a play on that. It's a play on a lot of things. Actually, the one of the things that underpins it, honestly, I don't know if you caught, there's an article that came out that caught fire about London being voted the saddest city in Canada.
100%. I saw
which, as one who felt lucky to grow up here, I was pretty frustrated about, let's say, I'll put it politely. And to me, it was, you can complain about it or you can do something about it. And so I thought we can do a play on words, and a story is a very Canadian thing to say. And I should point out just that particular article was put out by a real estate company.
I was going to say it was 100 people and they were realtors.
Yeah,
it was so limited.
Zero actual sort of academic rigor to it at all, So, but it's one of those things that I think that sort of caught on fire, and I thought, well, we can play off of that. We can play off the Canadian thing, and we love to apologize. And it's we actually one of the cool things in the development of all this is we created. I think one of the things that people will enjoy and benefit from this particular festival is that we've rated each show for content. Sort of the relative offensiveness, let's call it, of the content, and it's how sorry we are.
Oh, I love that.
Right, so it's degrees of sorry all the way up to utterly remorseful.
Okay.
And we have one show where we're very sorry about, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Certain audience.
Yeah,
it's only for certain
It's a
people.
comedy roast, but it's going to be certainly a lot of fun for those who are into that.
Amazing. Yeah. So tell us, what's sort of the agenda, or who's coming out to the show?
Oh my goodness!
What's happening?
So we actually this Wednesday we're finishing up. We're doing a local comic search program.
Oh, fun!
It's the 8th week. The winner from each week, so we have 8 winners and 2 wild cards, are going to kick off the festival at Aeolian Hall on Wednesday, November the 13th.
Okay.
So the 10 best comics by vote, by the crowds. The winner of that night at Aeolian Hall gets to open for our headliner, K. Trevor Wilson, on Saturday.
Amazing.
So it's very much designed structurally to catapult, hopefully, the career of that winner. Many of the other comics are also going to get slots to perform throughout the festival week. So that's our Wednesday night show. Thursday, we have several different shows. We have improv show. We have the best long-form improv duo in the country. RN and Calls are coming.
Oh, wow.
My improv troupe, MMU, is opening for them the first night. The other local improv troupe, Seriously JK, is opening for their show on the Friday night. We have a comic roast on the Thursday night at the Music Hall. We have Sophie Buttle. We can't, the team, we can't believe that we got her. I mean, she is opening right now for Taylor Tomlinson.
Yep.
She's incredibly funny. She's a rising star, and we are just thrilled that both her and her boyfriend Mace, who's also a comic, are going to be performing at Toboggan Brewing on the Friday, November the 15th. And then we have, I should also say, we have a series of club shows. So we have 3 different levels of show. Club shows, sort of 75 people or less. 75 to 150, 200 is sort of the spotlight series.
Okay.
And then we have some main stage shows, which are plus 200 people. And we've got Kate Trevor Wilson from Letterkenny headlining the Saturday, which we couldn't be more excited about. I mean, anybody who's seen Letterkenny loves his Squirrely Dan character. He's an incredible stand-up. He's the first stand-up to ever ask to do panel by Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
Ever. And so, so he's playing at Centennial Hall, 8 o'clock on Saturday, November the 16th. So, and we're doing workshops on the Thursday and Friday. We really are trying to bring a full festival feel to the community.
And it sounds like an incredible festival. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, we are hopefully, we are, you can tell we are too. We're so excited.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, that is the end of this week's episode, and if you are looking for a night out, there's a lot of things going on that you can choose from this week's guests. Thank you for watching and for listening. Please support the effort of our guests by liking, commenting, and sharing this episode of What's Up London with your friends, family, and networks. Please visit our guests' website and social media pages and plan to support their efforts. I will see you again next week. Until next time, stay safe and be kind. Have a great day.